Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Canton Boys Basketball's Omar Suleiman. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. I know the season has not gone the way that it should, but you guys have played some tough teams. But that's typical. What Canton puts up in the beginning of the season. But overall, what have you noticed about your guys? Even though you haven't racked up a W yet.
I mean, the important thing is that we're fighting in every game, and even though we've been losing, we've kept it close. And with every loss, we've gotten better through each game. I mean, we lost to St. Francis first. We weren't looking too good, and we just got better against Hamtramck, and we got better against Cass Tech. So as long as we're getting better, I think we're still looking good.
The opponents continue because Belleville's coming up next week. Of course, that's the crossover matchup has moved from it would usually be toward the end of the season. Now it's toward right before Christmas. So
Yeah.
what's that going to be like going there? Because as you guys are predicted to win the West, they're predicted to win the East, and it could come down to you guys ending up taking the league.
Yeah, Belleville's always pretty strong. They made a nice run last year in the playoffs. So, yeah, we know they're a tough team. They play good defense. They rebound hard. They push the floor. So we just got to focus on defense, and I think our offense will come to us.
So let me ask you this: I know you went undefeated in league play in your division, and then obviously, I mean, we all know what happened at the end. Of course, lost the lead to Heartland, but this year is a little different. Obviously, not having Cole and not having Lake. Obviously, every team goes through losing a bunch of big players. What has that been like trying to just get used to this group? Because this is a pretty young team that you guys have right now.
Yeah, we're pretty young. I think that's like our main focus so far this year is getting a better leadership standpoint, especially for myself. And I think the talent is still there. I mean, they were our two leading scorers last year, but we got some people that can score the ball this year too. So we're looking to just play defense and get better at leading a team. So yeah.
I know that you and Dante and I know Caleb's obviously been performing well, and plus there's just a lot of guys on your team that are just really, really performing well.
Yeah, yeah, we're looking pretty deep this year. Off the bench we got uh G. He's a defensive stopper, so we got a lot of guys that might start in other teams, but we're looking deep this year. So yeah.
So I know that you guys have got a pretty stacked schedule, and I know that's how coach usually likes to put it that way. You guys are at and then you guys are at Ann Arbor Huron later on Thursday, and then you guys take on Walled Lake Western at the Round Ball Classic next week. What's it going to be like to play those two games and playing in all these big tournaments? I mean, you guys played in a showcase last week on Saturday against Cass Tech. What's that like to just play with just a bunch of teams?
I mean, I think the whole team likes it. We like the pressure, and a lot of these teams are favored above us, so we kind of like being the underdog and trying to prove people wrong. We started off rough this year, but I think we can get a couple dubs this next couple weeks. So, yeah.
I know that you guys are going to have a pretty, there really isn't a lot for a lot of teams during the next 2 weeks. There really isn't a lot of games, but really overall, I know that there's going to be some off time for Christmas and for New Year's. What are you going to do to make sure that you stay in shape throughout the holiday season, even though there's going to be tons of distractions and tons of food too?
Yeah. I mean, we're still practicing, not, of course, on the holidays, but during the winter break of the school year, we have some practices and, of course, a couple of games. But I mean, it's up to the guys on their own. They gotta find it within themselves to go get out, get in the gym, get some shots up, lift some weights. So yeah.
So what's your plan throughout the holidays on some of the days off that you have?
On the days off, I'll probably definitely I'll hit the gym, lift some weights, try to get some shots up earlier in the day, and yeah, just take my rest, but also uh, still work on my craft. So yeah.
Yeah. So coming into this year, what the biggest thing that you had to do because you really had to take that leadership role on?
Yeah, I mean that's the main thing. Me and Dante are, I would say, are I'm struggling with the most. I think Dante's doing a pretty good job leading the team. But yeah, I think we both improved pretty well over the summer, um, offensive and defensive wise, working on our bodies, hitting the gym. So I think we're looking pretty good basketball wise. It's got to be our leadership that takes over this team, helped us get some wins.
You know, you saw the division, you saw the teams that were in that were at media day. Division's going to be it's going to be anyone's to take, and I mean, you went through the division without losing a game. So what was that like to have? But obviously, that was with when you had a ton of senior leadership, and then when you had Cole and Lake and all those guys. Obviously, this season's going to be a lot tougher to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good teams out there. Brighton's looking pretty good, and Northville's looking pretty good. Plymouth is also looking pretty strong. So I mean, I think that's what the beginning of the season is for, though. These tough teams that we play in the beginning to prepare us for our own division, so that we know what competition looks like and we can play up to our level.
Yeah, and obviously you start off division play at home. Though the first 2 weeks you have a pretty tough Howell team, which has always been good. And it seems like they found another sharpshooter with Jalen Hicks. And of course, you got Logan Lepic as well. And then you got Salem, which is a very senior heavy team as well. So they also have Ryan Peters as a junior. What's that going to be like having those first two opponents at home before you guys go on the road? Um, Before you guys go on the road for the next four.
Yeah, I mean, those are our first two home games of the whole year, so we're looking to make sure we know Howell's a tough team. They're always keeping it close somehow, and we're looking to just stay strong, stay together, and play as a team against Howell. And then Salem, we always know it's never a blowout in the park game. So we just got to make sure we do our own parts, get some stops on defense. I think throughout the year we're gonna get better leading the team, and our offense is gonna click as a unit. So
Just describe these park games if you can to someone that may not know or hasn't been in them or played in them.
I mean, it's crazy because you might sit at lunch table with one of these guys that you're going against, and then the next day you're playing a full on game with them. So, and all the people in the crowd, like they're all your friends. So it's a weird experience, but it's a blast. So yeah.
All right. And lastly, in these next few games, what do you really want to see out of this team?
I think the main thing is that we're fighting for the whole 32 minutes. We're not giving up at any point of the game, and we're just staying strong and having some competitive stamina is what the coaching staff has been really drilling into us this year. Yeah, just competing.
All right. Well, Omar, thank you so much for spending some time talking with us. Best of luck the rest of the year.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.